Hi, this is Lisa with Pagestarter. Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to talk about a conversation I had with Dan Brouchoud at the Porchlight Book Company, which is part of the book publishing process that I am not as familiar with, and that is how traditional publishers print and distribute books. Now, we all know that the printing options available to indie authors are not quite the same as what's available to traditional authors because traditional authors have a large publisher behind them ordering tens of thousands of titles, and so therefore they have access to printers and in quantities as well as the distribution supply chain side that indie authors aren't as familiar with. Now, crowdfunding your book is great because it's a great way to engage your audience as well as deliver books that your readers really want. But one thing that a lot of authors end up doing, especially those in the nonfiction side or even in the novels to a certain degree, they kind of default to print on demand. So they go to Kindle Direct Publishing or KDP or Ingram Spark because they're like, oh, it's just a simple book. I have, a book cover and then just black and white interior text. And what Dan Brouchoud at the Porchlight Book Company wants to do is offer something beyond that so that you don't have to just do print on demand or a huge offset print run that can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So there is something in between, and traditionally they have worked only with traditionally published authors. Now he contacted me because he's interested in working with indie authors. And I'm like, this is wonderful. Just because with crowdfunding, you have a large pre-order of hopefully hundreds of books. So because of that, there is an opportunity to work with Dan to get the printing and distribution of your books at a better quality, as well as a better profit margin, which is always what we're looking for. We're looking to deliver the highest quality of books for the best price. And as we've seen inflation increase the pricing around the world, I think authors are becoming much more price conscientious all the time. Ingram Spark just raised their print on demand pricing. So did KDP. That was July of this year. So we're seeing prices go up all over. So the more options you have as an author, the better. So what I'm going to do is just describe and recap a little bit of the conversation I had with Dan so that you can decide if this is something that would work well for you. Now, Kickstarter, any platform for crowdfunding is just that. It's just a platform for crowdfunding for you to drive your traffic to, for your backers to look at the rewards and to support your book and, choose the best reward for them. But there aren't there's no infrastructure there to help you, navigate your way through the editing process or the printing process or the distribution process. Of course, you can work with a fulfillment agency that does Kickstarter fulfillment in general. The difference between a backer kit or a fulfill right service is that Porchlight Book Company does books, so they do fulfillment for books specifically, which is really who you want to be working with. They really understand the complex world of book distribution. They've been doing it for decades. And again, they've been doing it in such quantities that they did Michelle Obama's past 2 books. So they definitely know how to scale. They definitely know how to deliver books to conferences so you can have conference sales on site, swag bags, all of that stuff. So it's a really nice marriage between, complex order fulfillment and Kickstarter and authors who are looking for Kickstarter fulfillment for their books. Also, the fact that they're interested in working with indie authors is a really nice option, opening it up to more people to utilize their services as well as their expertise. So there is one limitation, and that is that if you are an author and your pre-orders are less than 250 books, that's not going to clear the pricing threshold that makes it worth your time. You have to cross that 250 book threshold to drive down the cost of the printing and distribution. After that, it becomes significantly more affordable. But beyond that, they're ready to collaborate with any author and help you with worldwide fulfillment. A lot of the authors they've worked with in the past are in the nonfiction business world, but they can work with any author, children's books, novels, absolutely anyone. They have established relationships with printers around the world, mostly in Eastern Europe, because they're doing this artisanal printing process that is really producing beautiful, high quality books, which is what they are really focused on, is really producing just beautiful books and then delivering them in a way that makes sense for the reader as well as for the author. So they're really trying to offer authors a path away from the print on demand model, which is the path, that a lot of people are just defaulting to because they don't know what else to do. They're like, well, I don't want to order 2,000 books, so I'll just do print on demand. So this might be a good middle option for some authors. In addition to printing and fulfillment, the Porchlight Book Company also offers something that I thought was interesting, and that is bestseller reporting. And this is a service that a lot of, again, traditional authors have the option to do. Indies have not. I don't know if any independent author really gets this option, unless you work with a company like Porchlight Book. Basically, how it used to be is that your Kickstarter pre-orders would all count as like one order, which doesn't make any sense to me. But if you do, work with Dan and his services, they would count all of your pre-orders as individual orders, or however many books are being sent to individual addresses, and then those would count towards your bestseller status. So if you are a traditional author, or if you are, kind of a hybrid where you do some traditional publishing and some indie publishing, this might be a good option for you to utilize that service and, have your Kickstarter pre-orders count towards your bestseller reporting. So that's really good news. Smaller authors are probably not going to hit the bestseller list with a few hundred pre-orders, but this is nice because it would no longer be a barrier to those traditional authors or those hybrid authors who would also like to use crowdfunding to launch their books. So if you're interested in learning more, or if you want to talk to Dan, I will provide his email below so you can reach out to him on printing and distribution services and talk about your book in particular. All right. Thank you so much as always for listening, and feel free to hit like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, or just follow along. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful day.